Well, he texts me every day, like, whatever you do next time we record, you don't hit the record button, you son of a bitch. You let me do that.
Mine.
Yeah, and I failed again. Welcome to Reckoning Brothers. And Mark, what do you got? What do you got there?
A really good coaster made out of a coffee filter and some Jameson Irish whiskey. And
Made out of shit whiskey, but I digress.
And according to Josh, a half a quart of club soda in this glass, which of course is not true. You can tell by the color that there's not that much club soda.
Oh, shit.
Look at the color, Josh.
It looks a little thick, man. It looks pretty thick with whiskey. Plus, we saw him pouring it. And plus, he's a raging. It's got a lot of ice, but we also know that he's a raging alcoholic, and he's gotten in trouble with the police many, many times because of it. So that would tell us right there. I have a question. It might be a little over the line.
Really?
It might be a little bit over the line. Yeah, I don't know if we want to. Let's just say, Josh.
No, we're not making Josh a target. You target Mark.
I don't know if this question would apply to Mark, but how about this? I promise next week it will apply to Mark.
Okay.
Let's say you had millions of dollars, like $10 million, and you lived your whole family. You've lived that millionaire lifestyle, lower high class, right?
Like
and you've lived this way. Yeah. You've lived this way for years. Then all of a sudden, one day, bam, your son chooses to be gay. And the only way that you can get him to choose to be straight is to get rid of this entire fortune. And you wouldn't have to be destitute. You wouldn't have to be broke. You would just have to be middle class.
I don't really have an opinion on my child's sexual preferences.
That's great. That's wonderful. That's why I said it might be a little bit over the line. But yeah. But that just brings up a good. But it's like, I don't know anybody that really cares anymore, like if their kid is gay or not.
I mean,
I really don't know.
I would have I want grandkids, but that's something.
Well, you're right, Scott. It's a very smart point about you don't really, in this day and age, people really don't care, and that's true. And that's why I get really, kind of. I just roll my eyes when I hear a lot of people in the activist community, the activist trans community, talking about how you have to be able to trans your kid at school without the parents knowing about it, because if the parents find out about it, they're going to beat up their kid.
Now, wait a minute. You're talking about changing. We're not talking about that. We're talking about...
I moved on from the first question.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an entirely different world when you're talking about like trans and you're talking about giving a kid like medication and stuff like that for it. That's an entire different world.
Yeah, and I was going to keep going on it, which was, and they say that too about, gay kids, you can't come out to their parents because they're going to get beat up. It's just so boring and stupid and overblown. And yes, obviously there are isolated instances of parents, lashing out at their kids because they came out as gay or whatever. There's also lots of child abuse for any number of reasons. I don't believe that a parent who's going to beat up their kid for being gay hasn't beat up their kid for something else before that. Like, you're obviously an abusive parent, period.
I don't, like I said, I don't know a single parent that would really care. I was just trying to find a way to make fun of Josh, and he didn't take the bait. I thought he was going to really dig into me, but Josh is a good, loving parent, and I don't think, I just can't imagine any like good parents such as Josh really thinking negative of their child for really any like lifestyle choice like that, whether it be that or like, I don't know, just wanting to move like to Europe and be like a fucking musician for a year or something like that. It's like, who cares? Actually, Josh, like, no. I would easily get rid of my $10 million. If my son even thought of buying a plane ticket to Europe, I would get rid of all my millions of dollars.
The vast majority of parents love their kids no matter how they, no matter their sexuality. And I do, and we've talked about this before. It's obviously different if your 14-year-old comes to you and says, I think I'm trans and I want to get, my breasts hacked off. That's an entirely different thing. And I had to point out to somebody earlier today where they were talking about, in this environment where we're rolling back gay rights. That's not true. Nobody's trying to roll back anybody's gay rights. There's no bills in Congress rolling back gay rights. The issue in the current environment is there's two issues in the current environment that have to do with LGBTQ issues. And those two issues are biological men and boys in women and girls sports and transing minor children. Nobody cares. No, literally nobody cares if you're an adult and you're trans. Nobody cares, what your lifestyle or preferences are as an adult. And it's all, it's all straw man. It's all straw manning. And
Can I push back a little bit?
Yeah.
Do you think that there's the whole right pill manosphere world, right? Louis Theroux did that documentary, came out on Netflix. Did you see that, Josh?
No,
Really
but I
good.
like
Really
Louis
good.
Theroux's songs.
What's that?
Louis Theroux, he's a rapper, right?
No, he's a documentarian. He's an old British documentarian guy. Really, really good. He did one on Scientology that was fantastic. But
is he a
anyways,
totalitarian? Is he a totalitarian documentarian or a libertarian documentarian?
probably more the latter, but I don't know if I've noticed one way or another. But so there's the red pill manosphere world, right? The Andrew Tate world that's growing in popularity amongst young boys. And it seems more fashionable now to be able to be homophobic in that world and anti-Semitic, by the way. But I don't think it was that way 3 or 4 years ago. So in some popular segments of the online world, I think that the homophobia is trying at least to make a comeback, and that's something that's concerning.
Well, that's a valid point, and I don't think that has anything to do with in an environment where legislators are actively trying to roll back gay rights. That's
Yeah,
not true.
true. Yeah,
Right?
no, I get your point. In the legislative
Like,
world, it's simply not happening.
and like I work in the corporate world. I have two jobs. One is my self-employed job as an editor. The other is, and I'm in lots of newsrooms, and the other is in the corporate world. And I'm in a huge building with, it's a 500,000 square foot building with hundreds and hundreds of people from all walks of life and all backgrounds, trans, gay, straight, um, immigrants. We have lots of people from Asia in our office, and the online world, the perpetually online world, online thing that we see is not the real world. It's not real. Like
It's not the real world.
It's just not. So
Speaking of not the real world. Oh, no. I just wanted to, before you go on anything, I wanted to share something with the both of you. You guys know I'm into, I like the AI. And one of my favorite hobbies is AI music video creation. My very first attempt at this, do you guys remember? It was about a year ago. I made a anime intro song music video to Mark as an action hero. Do you remember when I did this?
Yeah, wasn't he making it out with a dude?
No, he wasn't making out with a dude. That was a different AI deep fake when that stuff started to happen.
Okay.
This was more like back when we first started, and it was very rudimentary. I had to do it all locally. It was super time consuming, but I enjoyed it. But I kind of wanted to show you guys how much farther technology has come. So I just basically took that same concept, anime Mark music video, and decided to try it again. So if you don't mind, I'd like to share with you.
Is this Sora? What's the base on it?
No,
Sora's out of business.
Sora's gone.
Sora's
I
gone,
was
bro.
messing with
They
Sora.
fucking shut down this week.
Yeah, OpenAI decided they weren't going to support it anymore. It
Literally
wasn't in their
ceases to
wheelhouse.
exist, and I couldn't be happier about it.
Yeah, I can be happier about it because it's inferior to Grok when it comes to making video clips. But I used Grok basically for everything, and then I used Producer.ai, which is a site owned by Google for the music. I
Let's see it.
will share this with you right now.
Some of us remember when the world tried to go red. I never forgot.
He kicks in the door with a whiskey and soda, ice in the glass and a look that says over. Books on the table, old ghost in his head. He's half on a rant and half already dead. He's got that spark, that old world scorn, like it's built for the fight, and the fight was born while the whole damn room just learns the lines. Mark reads the footnotes and rewrites the signs. Campus king and their slogans, high-painted bad ideas and a noble life. But he comes storming through the lecture haze with history in his teeth and a match to the page. Raise him up, let the whole world hear. Sharp as truth and twice as clear. Mark, glass in his hand, fire in his chest. Say what you want, but he says it best. When the room goes soft, he goes hard, turning cold dead words into battle scars. Oh, when the smoke rolls in through the dark, you can still see the light in Mark. He battles bad communist dreams from colleges, cuts through the slogans and costume noges. Romance left in a blood red lie. He's naming the bodies they're passing by. He's got iris, whiskey, nicotine, friends, and a fuse that burns till the whole world ends. He'll laugh real loud, then aim real straight like thunder, and a sign, then a shape of fate. He doesn't need the safe room line, doesn't dress up rock to make it shine. He drags old myths through a modern flame, then calls every fraud by the family name. Raise him up, let the whole world hear. Sharp as truth and twice as clear. Mark, glass in his hand, fire in his chest. Say what you want, but he says it best. When the room goes soft, he goes hard, turning cold dead words into battle scars. Oh, when the smoke rolls in through the dark, you can still see the light in Mark. He's not polished gold, he's a strike of steel, a hard-edged voice making bad men kneel. And under the fury, under the spark, there's a man still trying to leave a mark. Raise him up, let the whole world hear. The one who cuts through doubt and fear. Whiskey shining like a warning star. Never back down and never too far. Big damn heart and a mind that bites. Still throwing truth in the soft moonlight. Oh, in the noise, in the flame, in the dark, there's a main character storm named Mark.
Did I just,
I had-
I
Why
just
do I
kissed the,
look
no-
like-
did I just kiss the non-binary from the river to the sea person?
Oh, you
Yeah,
did,
you
you did.
did. Yeah,
And you loved it, and he loved it. But that took so much less time than it did to make that first one, and turned out so much better. Everything, there were flaws, obviously, but I was able to make fight scenes just based on iterations from Grok, and it looked the same from scene to scene, basically. And Josh, yeah, that was you. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah, I kind of gathered that. Why do I look like I'm a Croatian militia person with a tracksuit on? What's going on there?
Because you were wearing your Adidas pullover with the screenshot that I took to
Okay.
the anime character. So yeah, so Grok's like, oh, he must be like a Lithuanian, like a track star or something. He has
Seems
to be.
legit.
That has to be what's going on. But
Scott, it was your. I think it was your turn to have a subject this week. But before we get, did you pick one, by the way, or did you just?
I have a question that I wanted
Okay,
to
I have a
run by
question.
you.
No, but I have a question first. I want to put you on the spot. I want to put you and Josh on the spot. You have to. You've been sentenced to life in prison.
Yes, I would.
To get out of to get out of your sentence of life in prison, you have to do community service.
Okay.
Your community service is you have to work in a massage parlor for a week in a massage in a lightly regulated massage parlor whose clients are both men and women, or you have to work in a mortuary and clean dead bodies and put the juice in their veins and all that stuff.
So either way, I get out of death row. I just have to do one of these two
You have
options.
to do one or the other to get out of life in prison.
Life in prison.
Yeah, he didn't say death row. It's life in prison.
The massage parlor. You said lightly regulated. Is it implied that I'm going to have to perform sexual acts on both men and women?
Oh, you mean like do happy endings?
Yeah, exactly.
Correct. That's the implication. You may have to do a happy ending.
I think just because the mortuary thing would be morbidly interesting, I think I'd go with it. I think after getting over the initial shock and stuff like that, I'd be like, oh, this is crazy. This is what happens to the human body when it deteriorates. Like this is life. This is science. I'm going to mortuary.
Josh?
I think you know where I'm heading.
Josh is like, I've been working at a massage parlor at nights for the past year. And it's been fucking amazing.
We'll be an understudy to The Undertaker.
Yes, an understudy to The Undertaker.
I'm picking the massage parlor because I've been around a lot more dead bodies.
We know why.
I've been a lot.
We know, yeah.
Because I might have to. Because I've been around a lot more dead bodies than both of you, and I don't really want to. I don't really want to do that. Been around a lot of dead. I've seen a lot of dead bodies. I saw thousands of dead bodies in one country on my first visit. Literally thousands and thousands. On my first day in India, I looked out my balcony. I looked out the 16th floor of my hotel room, and the very first thing I saw was a dead body right outside the hotel gate, lying on the sidewalk. So, you know, and some of us may have I had to identify the body of a friend of mine, a friend of all three of ours, actually, who tossed himself off a 20-story roof, whose stepfather and mom refused to go identify the body. And he hurled himself off this building in downtown Dayton, off the Rybold building in downtown Dayton, and it didn't destroy his phone enough to the point where they couldn't, where the medical exam, where the police weren't able to provide the medical examiner with phone numbers off of it. The SIM chip, worked in it. And I knew this person since he was a toddler, and he called me Uncle Mark. He was a family friend. He was my mom's best friend's grandson. And so I was in his phone contacts as Uncle Mark, because that's what he called me. And when nobody from the family, when his parents wouldn't come identify the body, they called me and asked me to do it. And you don't want to see a person who's tossed himself off a 20-story building and landed on the concrete. So that's why I'm picking the massage parlor. That was my long answer on the massage parlor thing. Because you never know what you're going to see in a mortuary. You might see, like, Sonny Corleone. Look what they did to my boy.
Can I just say the past 3 minutes were the biggest swing between, like, serious, dark, real talk and completely jovial, making fun of shit, like, all together in one, like, segment I've ever been a part of.
It was a horseshoe.
It was horseshoe theory in action. When I was having a conversation with my mother. Pause for a joke from Mark. No joke. Got it. Okay. I was having a conversation with my mother
The
about
gypsy?
yes, about the importance of black humor. And my point was, how dare anybody try to take that away from me or from anybody that needs it? For me, I will always use black humor. I will always, in facing the darkest things in life, if I want to make a fucking joke about it, I deserve, and every human being deserves to have that card. If that's what they need, they should hold that card. That's another reason why I have such a problem with like prudes, like especially like progressive prudes, like oh you can't do that, you can't tell them they can't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
I do.
very important to be able to use black humor when necessary.
Dark
Josh, I'm sorry,
humor,
you were about to
yeah.
say something.
You're saying dark. You're saying black humor. What's black humor
He's
versus
talking
dark?
about dark humor,
Yeah, dark humor, just another
not
phrase for it.
not Afro-American humor.
Yeah. No,
I wanted
yeah,
to clarify that because I
Not
thought
that
that's
we-
where you were going. But
Not
I
that
was
we
a
don't
little
all love
confused.
Dave Chappelle, because we do. Because we do love Dave Chappelle, and we
I
do
love Dave
love.
Chappelle. Yeah, but that's not what I was. The whole time, Josh is like, is he trying to make? Is he saying he says the N word? Is that what he's saying? Like, but no, I just think it's really
I was
fucking
thinking,
important.
Charlie Murphy.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I just think it's an important card to have, and it always upsets me when people don't understand when somebody who's like in a dark place or suffering just makes jokes and fucks around. Like that's their way of dealing with shit, and that's their way of moving on. Because moving on is extremely important, and it's something that especially the modern progressive doesn't understand with their over therapistized world.
I think
That they want to
all
propagate.
the too soon jokes are perfectly acceptable.
Yes. Like
Right.
remember when
Let's go back
Gilbert
to-
Godfrey got in trouble after the tsunami in Japan? He says Japan's so advanced that the beach comes to you. Brilliant, funny joke.
Yeah.
No reason to be canceled.
Let's go back to what you just said there before, because we were talking about the black humor versus the dark humor. You even said pull out the card, so that's where the confusion continues. So
He thought you meant
Pull
the
out the
race
card.
card.
Oh,
I
you
thought you
thought I
meant the
meant race
race
car? Okay, my bad, man. I said it poorly. Yeah, I mean the card of you have that in your pocket. It's a coping mechanism, however you want to phrase it, right? But speaking of, the one thing I did want to bring up, speaking of phrasing things poorly, Mark, do you remember? It was the last one we recorded without Josh, probably 2 of these recordings ago. We were talking about Iran, right? I brought up one of the oppositions to Trump and Iran and the whole thing is people that are anti-executive branch having a lot of power, right? People that want to draw that back, right? And I asked you, hey, should we be having the conversation about bringing back executive power? Your rebuttal to me was, well, we've been having these conversations. They're going nowhere. It's like the conversation about race, da 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 da. And then I said to you, I think I poorly said this, but the point that I wanted to make was the conversations that we're actually having are stupid because they're not productive and they're too overarching and they're not specific and boring enough. I brought up the example of, I think that the world will be a better place if you could default on your student loan payments through bankruptcy, because that would force banks that are loaning out student loans to be part of the market. Therefore, they couldn't afford to give money to people getting stupid majors or going to stupid colleges. So that would gradually, over time, kind of make the whole stupid, extremist politics in college thing start to die down. But the point I wanted to make was, if our conversations were more about specific things, non-sexy things, small things that would actually make a difference, even though it'd be a small difference, but a real difference in making the world a marginally better place, that would be a much better use of our conversations than what our public conversations are now.
Couldn't agree more. And yeah, so much of everything is So much of the conversations are overarching and and way overly simplified. We're bombing children in Iran. War bad,
Yeah, it's
right?
not that simple.
All right.
It's not that
Not
simple.
everything is a tag. Not everything is a tagline, and not all policies should be based on them. And I watched for 4 years. I watched the Biden White House literally use um, TikTok influencers and taglines as their policy initiative um, inertia, right?
Which
And I
are
just thought,
inherently just if it's from TikTok, it's going to be short form and it's going to be a real stupid idea, a real overarching broad idea without any real specifics that can do anything. Just a good sounding talking point that's not really based in reality.
yeah. So what we have is instead of productive conversations, we have taglines and huge and broad brush oversimplifications, right?
Do you have either one of you have an example of something like that where like you know the phrase it's a good society when a grown man plants a tree whose shade he'll never sit in, right? Like you put effort into the next generation even though you don't get anything out of it now. Do you have an example of something that you would like to push that's small like what I just mentioned that would actually make a big difference, you think, in the world in the future?
So I think for mine, it's generational wealth and education. It
I
just
didn't hear you, Josh. Sorry.
generational wealth and education. Just
Hmm.
enforcing that, not enforcing, but encouraging that continuous education. That every single day I learn something while I'm
Hmm.
working. It's but going to college, getting your degree, getting your master's, or whatever beyond that, and pushing for that just a bit better, just a bit better next generation.
You're fading in and out a little bit, Josh. Can you turn your mic up a little bit too?
Yeah, you were. Maybe bring it just a tad bit closer to you. You'd probably be good.
No, I banged it, so I don't know what happened to it.
Oh, it's his rage. He was banging on the. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I heard Mark start ranting. I don't know.
That's a good point, though. I increasing like making every generation a little bit better, a little bit better. Like you know what the Flynn effect is? So the Flynn effect is IQ apparently increases with every generation. I don't know
How's
if
that?
that's
Is
going to
that
keep
better?
going. Yeah, it's a little better. I
Okay.
can definitely hear. But the Flynn effect says like IQ increases with every generation. So basically, every generation just keeps getting smarter and smarter and smarter. I'd love to see that keep going on, but
Is
you know,
that
as much as I love AI and fucking around with it, a lot of people are saying that using that as a crutch is going to make the next generation fucking stupider, and I can't really argue with that.
right? I mean, I think we're literally watching the stupidest generation imaginable right now. So I don't know. Is there any empirical evidence for the Flynn effect?
It has a name. Do you need any more evidence than that? Anything that has a name is a thing.
The movie Idiocracy is coming
Yeah,
true.
yeah. It's coming so true. It's like a cliche to mention that it's becoming true. That's how
Yeah.
true it's becoming. Like it's
I
just
mean,
gone through the whole fucking cycle. It's so
the,
crazy.
yeah.
Well,
Have
we
you
keep
seen
doing.
the Crocs that they were doing?
Yeah,
They had Crocs in the actual movie, and they were like, we want the most absurd shoe possible, and now it's like super popular.
fucking insane. Yeah,
Well, societally and governmentally, and politically, we keep doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result. Right? That's the
definition of
definition of
insanity, right?
insanity, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know if we're progressing or not. I mean, this week, this past week has been just hella depressing headlines about precisely that of something we've been doing the same way over and over again and expecting a different result, and we keep getting the same result. Um, we have people that were involved in people that committed a mass shooting, killed 4 people, wounded 25, and all got they all got off on sentences of less than 5 years. I probably read 25 headlines this week of soft on crime sentences and suspended sentences. We have the trans migrant in New York who raped a 14-year-old boy in a bodega and is getting off with a 5 or 6 month sentence for raping a 14-year-old boy in a bathroom in a store. Now,
Hmm.
I there's nothing more insane than that, right? And it was a criminal illegal alien. Also, this was somebody who the government of New York should have called Immigrations and Customs Enforcement and said, "Here's this illegal alien who's here illegally, who's been arrested before and has an arrest record," and turned him over to Immigrations and Customs Enforcement before he could rape a 14-year-old boy in a store. We have the case of Sheridan Gorman in Chicago. 18, 19-year-old girl in, visiting Chicago, walking along the waterfront, the same waterfront that Governor Pritzker, you know, did this little video about, how safe Chicago is and come visit Chicago, what a nice place. And a criminal illegal alien who was previously arrested, who came here in 2023, was released into the country, made his way to Chicago somehow, has tuberculosis, has been getting free medical treatment in the United States for his tuberculosis, passing tuberculosis around in the migrant center that he was living in, shot and killed a college girl on the waterfront in Chicago. Bad enough. And then the Chicago politicians, when literally a Chicago, a city council member made a video of in her car talking about how we have to stop demonizing immigrants. And this poor immigrant may have been startled, and that's why he might have shot Sheridan Gorman in the head. I,
Where? I'm sorry to interrupt.
no, come.
Where do you think the country is on this? So my whole growing up, right? I was the general consensus was very pro-immigrant, right? We were all just everybody was in the lefty camp. Normie was in the lefty camp on immigration, right? But lately, it
The
seems
Democratic
like
Party wasn't. The Democratic Party wasn't. Bill Clinton wasn't. Chuck Schumer wasn't. Everybody you hear about now talking about we're demonizing immigrants when actually we're talking about illegal aliens and specifically criminal illegal aliens who shouldn't be here, right?
and I've seen all the you can see
Right. It was
videos of
literally
like
the
Barack
policy of the
Obama
Democratic
talking
Party.
about
I worked for Barbara Jordan. I was working with Barbara Jordan, a black congresswoman from Texas in the 1990s on illegal immigration because her argument was that too many illegal aliens in her district and in the state of Texas were reducing the wages of Native American born workers, reducing wages and putting stress on communities, especially minority communities, especially disadvantaged communities like black communities and brown communities, because because of stress on schools, stress on clinics, stress on hospitals, stress on public services, stress on housing. So I just wanted to interrupt you. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
It's okay.
the most vocal opponents of illegal immigration in the 90s were prominent was the Democratic Party as a whole and its most prominent members. If you're talking about legal immigration, yes, go.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to start raising my
talking
hand.
I'm talking more about like the vibe of people, right? Like a normie would not really understand the things that you just mentioned because there wouldn't be those headlines, right? So a normie would just kind of be more like, immigration, they come in over the border, it's no big deal. It's a different world now. Twitter
Correct.
is just completely littered with these stories like you just mentioned. Do you think there's enough of a change in the zeitgeist to where it's going to affect elections in a couple years from now we've got the border secured basically because the general public is just they're not buying the fucking woe is me, everybody that's born outside of America is good and every American and privileged person is bad narrative of bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know where I hate to make predictions. I know this. And to your
You love to
point,
make predictions.
no, I know this. And to your point, yes, the opinion of immigration in the time period that you're talking about, the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, up until recently, was um, the picture that we had of immigrants were people that came here legally, applied for citizenship, in that process got green cards, work permits, temporary status to be in the country, learned the language, assimilated, and then at some point became American citizens. But that's been all of that's been swept aside because um, the and I just want to make this clear. I'm not a member of a political party because the Democratic Party has embraced illegal immigration and illegal immigrants, uh, and they've codified it in law in states and cities that have where they've passed sanctuary laws, and it's a whole different argument. It's a whole different environment than what it was a very short time ago. I also know this: Donald Trump was elected in 2016 because of illegal immigration. The Biden administration opened the border, and we saw somewhere between 8 and 15 million illegal aliens cross into this country. We had illegal aliens flown into the country under the Biden protected status immigration blah 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 program, where we were flying in migrants from I don't know how many countries, right?
Five.
With no vetting, with no vetting, no health screens, nothing. During a pandemic, mind you, when they were insisting that you had to get a vaccine to go to work, right? And what happened after that? Donald Trump got reelected in 2024 on illegal immigration.
I don't think that's
In two of the last three presidential elections, Donald Trump won. Basically,
I gotta back up Mark, or I'm sorry, I gotta back up Josh here though. Don't you think it's because the Democrats lost because it was the worst campaign ever run? They ran a corpse and then they switched out the corpse for someone who was we were told was a diversity hire.
that and inflation and the economy was horrible.
I mean, I'm not saying that you're
completely, but yeah,
what you said is a part of it, but there's a lot of shit going on that made Trump win. A lot of shit.
yeah, she ran a terrible campaign. And when you're prattling on about democracy this and democracy that, and the political party that you belong to nominates you without having an election,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't know. I don't have any empirical data.
And your party is so racist that even if you did, no one would run against her just because she's black, and because the Democrats are so racist, they think that black people need help from whites. That's the
Brother, I'm
crux of
telling
their
you
whole-
what. That's true. And had somebody challenged her, well, the people that did challenge her, there was that one congressman that wanted to, I forget his name. Yeah, they were accused of racism, literally. Well, you just don't want
Insane.
Kamala Harris to be the nominee because you don't want a black, or you're a racist and a sexist because you don't want a black woman to be the Democratic Party nominee. And
you see that milliliter that he poured there.
Yeah, I was just going to say that was not a whole lot that you poured in there. I'm starting to lean towards Team Josh with you putting more soda in there than
I didn't
whiskey.
put any soda in it though. It's just booze.
Fuck. That's
But
a point,
I
though.
do
That's
like
a point.
I wish you guys would stop raking me for liking my booze over ice because I do.
Did you say raping you?
Raking, RAKI.
Okay, because I was going to say, because you text me all the time saying, I wish you guys would rape me. So that's why I was confused with what you said right there.
Okay, I want to go back to 20 minutes ago when back and forth wouldn't stop. We were Mark, you were discussing Sheridan. I don't remember the last name in Chicago, and
Yeah,
the mayor on the waterfront, or
yeah,
the
yeah.
whoever was on the waterfront.
The governor. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Mark did this whole thing last night. He was over for 6 hours or so, and we didn't talk politics at all. And right as he was getting ready to leave, he looked at his phone, and there was about
Mm.
7 or 8 messages. He just starts clicking, clicking. I wish I had a hearing aid so I can fucking turn it down. You just lowballed the hell out of that. You ranted so much last night, and you were just so calm when you were just talking about it. It was a 20-minute tirade. I want that in this. That's all I'm
Okay,
saying.
good.
I think we got an
And
assignment
and
for
I'll
next
work
week.
on that. And the reason why I was so emotional and enraged about it last night is because I was looking at my godson and my concern for the world that he could grow up in. And it so look, if the Democratic Party wins if they win the midterms and they win the presidential election in 2028, they're going to open the border. They're going to do mass amnesty. They're going to give citizenship to somewhere between 8 and 20 million people. They're going to pack the Supreme Court and make it a Politburo court. They're going to give statehood to Puerto Rico and the District of Columbia, so they get 4 more Democratic senators. They're going to abolish the Electoral College. It's over after that. And yes, I ranted about it, and I said, and when that happens, I'm moving to the coastline of Croatia, and I'm going to wave goodbye to my godson and Josh and all my friends here.
But you were so much louder.
I was a lot
That's,
louder.
that's all I'm saying.
Well, I was, yeah, because I was really, I had just read some of the specifics about the Sheridan Gorman case. I mean, we're talking about somebody who, and I had a phone conversation. I did a phone interview for a piece. I was I was editing a piece for, I forget the publication. It might have been the New York Post. It might have been the American Spectator. I don't, doesn't make any difference. And the reporter did not want to do the phone interview with, and Scott, you may or may not remember this case. Ronald Singh, who was a legal immigrant from Fiji, came to the United States. He came here, he learned the language, he assimilated, he applied for temporary uh, status, got a green card, got a work permit, became an American citizen, and got a job on the LA Police Department or LA County Sheriff. I think it was LAPD. Might have been LA Sheriff, doesn't matter. Um, he was killed by an illegal alien, and it was an emotional case. The widow was, obviously she was pregnant when it happened, so um, Officer Singh's death led to 2 orphan children, and the reporter didn't think he would be able to do the phone interview, um, and he asked me if I would do it, and I did. And I made the mistake of asking Officer Singh's widow, what does she say to people who quote crime statistics that where the data from this organization or that organization shows that immigrants commit crime at a lower rate than American citizens? And she said to me, "Sir, you don't understand. My husband was murdered by people who shouldn't have been here in the first place." And I have told people that ever since. Whenever they're doing the crime stats, and sometimes they'll say undocumented immigrants commit crime at a lower rate than American-born citizens, or they'll try to fudge it. They'll try to muddy the waters by saying immigrants. Right? And we're not talking about immigrants. We're talking about illegal immigrants, specifically criminal illegal immigrants. The guys that killed Officer Singh were gang members with fucking records. right, who'd been repeatedly released back out onto the street to commit more crime, which eventually led to the death of Officer Singh. But because LA is a sanctuary city, he died. And I, so yes, Josh, I really got very animated and quite upset and that was because I had spent the evening with your son, who I love more than my life, and I don't want him. I don't want to lose the country. And I know that sounds like I'm being, taking a another political party's side because members of the Republican Party say that, but it's true. If the Democratic Party wants power and they want it so badly and they want to keep it so badly, they'll do anything to ensconce a one party system. They have a one party system in the cities that they run. They have a one party system in New York, Chicago, Atlanta, Houston, Los Angeles, Seattle, Portland, every major city in America. It's a one party political system. You can't get if you're a Republican in LA, you can't get a cup of coffee in state government. And you can't get appointed to a job as a
Rick
bureaucrat.
Caruso ran as a Democrat.
What's that?
If you think Rick Caruso is a Democrat, Rick Caruso had to run as a Democrat. He's not a fucking Democrat, at least not a California Democrat. But he had to run as it.
He had to run as a Democrat. I don't care if he sticks his foot in his mouth and says, "I'm just going to take Cuba." I don't care if he says, I'm going to bomb the shit out of Iran and if some schools end up getting bombed, boo-hoo. There's nothing he can do now that will offend me because I'm watching death happen in real time. I'm watching 100% preventable deaths happening in real time that on purpose as a matter of public policy.
Can I ask one question before we get out of here? Because I got to go.
Yeah.
It's labeled as a conspiracy theory. I think it's probably true. The reason that their Democrats want open borders so much is so that they have illegal immigrants that will come in and vote. And the reason they don't want voter ID laws and they want open borders is so illegal immigrants will come in and vote Democrats and they can stay in power. End of story. Is that what's happening?
That's literally what's happening.
I don't see any other explanation. I think that's
it's literally what's happening.
I believed as of like 9 months ago that was a conspiracy theory. I now have been convinced that I think it's true.
Literally what they want.
I don't see any other explanation. It doesn't make any other sense any other way.
And next week I will address it with evidence for that. Before we jump off, Senator Chris Murphy said it out loud on an MSNBC interview the other day, and he just literally just said it. He goes, "The people we care about the most, the undocumented." That's a direct quote. He goes, and it's because the people that we care about the most, the undocumented. Translate
they'll vote
that.
Democrat because they think that they owe them.
Yeah. Yep.